Many Koreans who yesterday were the shopkeepers of South Central Los Angeles today have lost the business.
By deadly violence in the smoke-filled streets of Los Angeles, California.
1 Korean businesses in South Central have been torched, dozens looted. In this overwhelmingly
black smoke,
Still of 4 Los Angeles police officers accused of using excessive force against Rodney King has turned
and there has been
into
demonstrations elsewhere. People frustrated by a courtroom verdict have taken their anger into the street.
In just 5 days, Los Angeles communities were destroyed, society faced backlash, and people were displaced. Koreatown in particular faced not just riots against their businesses, but to their entire ethnicity. The Rooftop Koreans highlighted a revolution in Korean identity during the 1992 LA riots and following racial reactions after Latasha Harlins' death. The increasingly targeted violence in Koreatown, sense of isolation, and media negligence forced communal self-reliance that ultimately reshaped Korean Americans' desire for societal reform and American gun protectionism.
I care about the racism, I don't care anything, but it's not right, okay? It's not right to break inside and get any stuff. No, it's not right. I don't think it's right.
On March 3, 1991, a tragedy struck. Home to a diverse population of ethnic communities, all eyes lay on Los Angeles, California. A video circulated worldwide of an African-American man being severely beaten by 4 white Los Angeles police officers. Rodney King was a name that every black household was familiar with. Soon forgotten, talk about this event resurged with the criminal charges of King's assaulters on April 29, 1992, when all of the officers were acquitted of assault, with 3 also being acquitted of excessive use of force on King. This form of racial discrimination in court was also seen in a similar case. Just 2 weeks after Rodney King's beating in 1991, Latasha Harlins, a 15-year-old black girl, was fatally shot in a South Central liquor store by Korean-American store owner Soon Ja-doo. Compared to the white officers in King's case, Do was another blow to the black community with her seemingly unfair court decision of $500 and community service on November 15th of that same year. Harlins' family expressed deep sentiment against the Korean, saying that she's going to pay and that she got away with murder. However, the combined reactions to these racial injustices of King and Harlins caused many blacks to revolt and protest immediately after the Rodney King verdict, shouting, "No justice, no peace." With this, the 1992 LA riots were soon underway. The LA riots spread all across LA. Amid these tensions, rioters moved toward central LA. Koreatown and its Korean-owned businesses fell victim to looting and violent rioters, many of whom, despite media proclaiming that blacks were targeting the area out of rage from Latasha Harlins, were people taking advantage of the current situation.
But we got word that this plaza was being shot at by MS-13.
Koreatown, established with the help of Hee-duk Lee in the 80s, served as a gathering place for many hopeful and optimistic Korean immigrants in LA, especially since it was a way for Korean families to embrace their culture as a minority in such a heterogeneous society. With the riots' increasingly violent and pressured turn of events in Koreatown, Korean businesses sought help from family, friends, and practically mobilized the entire community for one cause: to resist the attack on their entire livelihood and investments.
My role was I was out helping my friend. His older brother owned a stereo shop, and this is where they used to they used to soup up sound systems.
This happened with the help of Radio Korea.
There was no Twitter or anything like that, so we were giving out information like, hey, the shop on Hoover and 8th or something, for example, needs help. Send your volunteers, show up there.
As the Korean community gathered to protect their place in LA, they had no other choice but to use their Second Amendment rights to bear arms. Countless businesses and groups of Koreans displayed how willing this community was to revolt against an oppressive force. Koreans have had a long history surrounding their knowledge of gun use. All Korean men in Korea were legally expected to serve military time regardless of whether there was a conflict or not. With desperate times rising, desperate measures were called. As Korean Americans fought to protect each other and their society, their reliance on the LAPD, which supposedly helps the entire city of Los Angeles, fell short.
Oh, we have a police here, we are safe. But as soon as the gun fighting started, they ran away. Bye.
For many Koreans, the sight of this felt almost like betrayal. According to many accounts, it was as if protection was reserved for the rich and more powerful white community, such as in Beverly Hills and the much closer to Koreatown, Hancock Park. A personal statement by Julie Grist, a white woman living in this neighborhood, described how ashes from the riots were drifting around as the U.S. National Guard stood outside on the corner of her block. Despite Hancock Park being a couple of streets from Koreatown, the Korean community was forced to protect themselves as the National Guard stood watch over the predominantly white neighborhood. On May 2, 1992, the LA riots began to dissipate. The violence in Koreatown dwindled down as well. Nevertheless, the damages caused by the riots left many Korean-owned businesses and Koreatown in general in ruin, receiving upwards of a fifth of the total damage in LA alone.
And, especially when I was interviewing my participant, something that he spoke about was coming to feel that you can't really rely on the government and you can't really rely on the system a lot of the time, right? And that unfortunately in the LA riots, these people were kind of left to fend for themselves, and I think that definitely left quite a scar in the Korean community.
However, instead of holding a grudge against those threatening their community, many Korean Americans took to the streets.
But also, I think it also pushed the Korean community to be more involved and to take up more leadership roles and be more connected in the LA community as well.
Along with other minority communities like Blacks and Latinos, they protested justice for all and harmony amongst their diverse society. A radical shift in Los Angeles' racial tensions turned into support for each other, redefining how ethnic minorities, especially Koreans, saw themselves within a diverse population as American citizens. On the other hand, media then, and even now, tend to proclaim the conflict between the African and Korean American communities rather than focusing on the original spark of the LA riots, the harsh treatment of white officers toward an African American. Korean American activist Elaine Kim expresses how she believes that the Korean American community was used as quote-unquote human shields in the media to protect the white community from facing all the blame. Modern media in the form of memes have resurfaced, nicknaming these Korean Americans as Rooftop Koreans because of their frequent visuals on top of their businesses. Political figures, gun rights advocates, and the media often portray them as defenders of the Second Amendment. These groups, through modern memes, try to justify their frequently violent actions against peaceful protesting. They react on the rhetoric of these Korean Americans using firearms rather than looking into how guns were the only way to defend what remains of Koreatown during the 1992 LA riots. Ironically, these acts of resistance led to unifying protests.
It's gun culture, and that's what America has. And I think that's awesome, because, that gives us our individuality and our freedom, right? So people have to understand that it's a tool, right? It's a tool to be used just like anything else.
Focusing on specific points of an event, the American public should refine its knowledge about the entirety of an event or situation. Just because the Korean Americans use guns to protect their stores does not mean the American government can use its authority to violently subdue peaceful protests. Sa-i-go, or April 29th, was more than just the day of the LA riots. It was a name given to the day that Korean Americans were tasked with the heavy burden of defending their culture and place in America. Protests and resistance are meant to reform society, not make it more violent. Guns are meant to protect, not harm others. It was through this revolution that Korean Americans were able to reform how Los Angeles and people all over the nation see the Korean community and minorities alike as part of this country.